What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here with me, Sean Sheehan, on Sherdog.com. And today I'm here with you to have a quick look back at One Championship's 161 card, which went down here in the morning time in Ireland. It slashed kind of noon time. What time did it start? 11:30 in the morning here. So absolutely perfect time for me. I wish every MMA card would start at that time, especially when I'm struck with COVID and sitting here and so I've nothing better to be doing. So it was absolutely perfect for me. And you know what? It was a pretty enjoyable card. It was one of those ones really where you know, with One Championship cards, you always get something a little bit different, you know, because you get the submission grappling, you get the MMA, you get the striking arts. And as someone who's maybe not the biggest fan in the world of the striking arts, and not that I'm not a fan, it's just that they don't appeal to me that much. I thought the main event, the Muay Thai main event, which we'll get into in a few moments here, was absolutely fantastic. It was a gripping affair. It was one of those ones where if you're telling people to watch, you know, a Muay Thai fight to get into Muay Thai, that's probably one of the ones you would tell them. I think it was absolutely fantastic. A bit of a contentious decision, I suppose. You know, I wouldn't call myself an expert in Muay Thai scoring by any means, but I thought the right guy won, kind of. You know, it was a very, very closely run affair. But a very, very, very fun fight, and overall, I would say it was probably an up and down card in terms of excitement. I wouldn't say there was any like terrible fights in it. There was a few slow fights. There was some very good finishes, and all in all, you know, a pretty enjoyable way to spend an afternoon at home here in Ireland, or a morning over in America, or when was it, the evening time, I think, over in Singapore. So all in all, pretty good. And we'll go through the card, I suppose, from bottom to the top. The first fight of the night was Matheus Felipe versus Ali Furadi. And I talked about this in the preview that, you know, Felipe was the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. Furadi was the Iranian wrestler with a bit of striking as well. And you know what? We didn't necessarily see exactly that in this fight. Felipe, I thought, looked good on the feet, came out southpaw. Furadi was threatening on the outside with big right hands, a big any shot really that he could land. And it was one of those fights where one guy was kind of coming forward looking to throw, another guy was on the back foot looking to throw. And you know what? Neither of them maybe threw that much. Funnily enough, I think Furadi from the back foot actually, like, he definitely landed the better shots, but he threw the better shots as well. I'll talk about the finish in a second, but it turned into, you know, two grapplers in a striking match, but it was actually a better striking match than you'd expect from, you know, two grapplers. Felipe looked really confident, but the one issue he had, I think, was he just didn't make Furadi pay enough. He was throwing all these feints, he was doing all this nice movement, every shot that he threw, even if it wasn't landing or even if it was a feint or whatever, looked like crisp and good, and I would say he's well trained, and he comes out there and he looks like a good fighter, but there's only so much of that you can do without landing strikes, you know? He just wasn't landing anything, and that's all right for Adesanya or someone like that, or you know, if a Volkanovski or high-level kickboxers to do that, because they'll eventually make you pay, because they know if you throw something, they'll be confident enough and well-schooled enough to get out of the way of it. Unfortunately for Felipe, he wasn't. The offensive work looked good, even though there wasn't much meaningful offensive work, if you want to do that, if you want to say that, but the defensive work was the big issue here. Furadi just caught him square. It's as simple as that. Squared up his shoulders and caught him right down through the middle. Lovely parry of the hand, of the lead hand of Felipe, and the right hand came right down through the middle and hit him, hurt him, and finished him. And it was a lovely finish, but it was one of those where the game of Furadi, what he was trying to do, which was counter on the outside from Lint, was really helped by the way Felipe fought. Even though the way Felipe fought looked good, and I would say was good, but it just didn't have that X factor that you need, that if you're I think were these lads middleweights, but they were big guys anyway. You need to land that big shot. 205 pounds, it says here. Big. You need to land that big shot. You need to do something good, especially when it's your debut and you're fighting your opponent on his third fight and he goes to 3-0 now. I think for Felipe in the future, if you're looking at him again, I think there's hope. You know, obviously we know what he's like. I think he was a world champion in brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So, you know, if he can get the fight to the ground, maybe throwing a few takedowns with that striking next time, it can be a lot better for him. But he isn't a guy I'd rule out. It was a quick knockout, I suppose, in the first round, but there were good signs before that. Another quick finish came in the second attraction of the evening, I suppose. Rodrigo Marello was against Ruslan Bagdasarian in a submission grappling match. Basically, immediately, Marello went down, dropped his butt, scooted in, caught him, and tapped him with a footlock. And, you know, I'm no jiu-jitsu expert or anything here, so I'm not going to break down exactly what happened and everything. It was 15 seconds of what I told you there basically exactly happened. What I loved about this, and one thing we never see in mixed martial arts, is he pulled off his top and like threw it into a crowd like, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo after scoring a goal or something. So that was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, the exact way you want the jiu-jitsu match to go, I suppose. Quick, eventful, and not boring. So exactly what you want. Fair play to Marello there. After that, then we had a Muay Thai match between Ferrari Fairtex and Zi Hao. I thought Ferrari was just a lot better, honestly. The power, the speed, it ended up winning by decision. I think in the first two, the second one was relatively close. I think the commentary were kind of calling it 1-1 when it went into the third, but I think Ferrari was just a little bit better all around. I loved, you know, whenever you watch Muay Thai, you just see I say the speed again, but the speed of the leg kicks, it's just absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, the next fight as well was kind of the same, where Sangmanee and Zhang put on a split decision as well. The first one went for Zhang, the second one went for Sangmanee. I think the body work was absolutely phenomenal. Close third, but Sangmanee seemed to be landing harder again, and I think he won that one. So it was, you know, that was pretty good there as well. I'll run through quickly the rest of the Muay Thai and all that, and we'll get mainly to the MMA here. There was a big 145-pound fight where Alaverdi and Petchyindee, Capitan, put on a split decision as well. So there's two split decisions in the world, and Alaverdi won that one there. A lot of heavy leather again exchanged in that, and it was a pretty exciting one. And then onto the main card, and to the big MMA fights, and Reug kicked off the main card here, and do you know what? I thought he looked absolutely phenomenal. He looked great on the feet. He had Ireland's own John Mitchell in his corner, who is you know, a good fighter from down here, not too far away from me down in Cork. And he looked good. He was throwing his jabs. He's coming inside, landing short shots inside. Gazzaev, you know, they said in the intro that he was a European champion wrestler, and I watched some of his fights before, as you probably heard in the preview, and he is a very, very good wrestler. Not a great striker now, but he didn't get to show much of his striking here, but he tried to wrestle Reug. But there is no wrestling Reug. You do not wrestle this man. He's too big, he's too strong, and funnily enough, he actually cut down in weight. They were talking about it. So he weighed in at 264, I believe, which is, you know, the UFC or the normal weight limit, which is great, you know, for the future, maybe if he was to come over to America or something to fight. But I don't think One Championship will want to be losing him anytime soon. He's such an attraction and looks to be such a good fighter now as well. As I said, so fast on the feet, defended the takedowns well, and it wasn't just strength. He did get taken down once, and he literally just stood up. But I think that was the only time he used strength. Most of the other time, you know, your man was getting the single leg, Reug was pushing the head down. You know, he was getting the legs out from under him, getting the wizard. You know, getting the underhook when he needed to get it. You know, using his size in the right way. to push in the right directions, to get on top of Gazzaev, and it was just brilliant for the whole fight where Gazzaev was trying to wrestle him and he just refused to. And there was one stage where Gazzaev was just holding onto a single leg and Reug was just hammer fisting him. Like I tweeted out, I literally thought he was going to burst Gazzaev's ear. At one stage he was hitting him so hard with hammer fists, which forced Batradz to give up the top position. And there was a pile of ground and pound in, and the referee was... there wasn't an intelligent defense. I don't think there was too much of a landing because Gazzaev was just literally curled up, but that's not an intelligent defense, and you can only let it go for so long. I saw a couple of people saying it was maybe a little bit early. It might have been, but the only difference it would have been was more shots landed on the arms, I suppose, because Gazzaev was not moving and Reug wasn't stopping, so I don't think it really made much of a difference, to be honest. So I didn't have any trouble with the stoppage myself. I thought it was good, and another brilliant performance from Reug. Looked fit, looked strong, looked technically a lot better in all areas than I've seen him before. Looked tactically a lot better. Like what I was worried about coming into this fight, in his last fight, he tried to be more tactical, but all that did was kind of lead to him clinching a lot and holding on in the clinch. And there was a stage at the start of the first round where he kind of got into that position, the same position that he spent maybe, I don't know how long, maybe 8 minutes of the last fight. Maybe I'm overstretching a little bit there, but long periods of the last fight in. And I was thinking, oh no, is he going to do the same thing? But he didn't. And it showed the improvements he's made, that he got out of there and the fight kind of naturally went out of there, where it didn't the last time, where he just used his strength maybe to hold it there and to not, I suppose, expend too much energy in that position. And this time that wasn't the case. So it was really, really good. A really, really good performance. I think he got better from the last time, as I just said. His striking got better, which he didn't get to show the last time. His ability to finish is always there, but looked good again. His strength looked good. His physique looked good. All around, like Reug is, he's maybe a cult figure, but this guy can fight. And when you're an athletic phenom like he is, with a growing skill set and a growing, I suppose, acceptance of mixed martial arts, maybe, or you're basically just growing into the sport. That is a dangerous prospect. The Buchecha fight was supposed to happen before. I just see my guy Rebecca Hitman calling for that. That's a magnificent fight. That is a magnificent fight if it happens, and I would love to see it. Do you know what? I would might see him fight Mauro Sorelli. I know he lost a couple of weeks ago, but I think that mightn't be a bad fight. Your man as well, can't think of his name now. He lost to Bator there last time. Bator flunked a drugs test after an English test. I can't remember his name. But he's lost 2 in a row as well. But with Reug, I don't think it matters. You get a big heavyweight in there against him, and it's all good. But phenomenal performance from Reug. And he is, we said it with guys down through the years that they're must-watch TV, can't miss TV. And Reug to me is one of them. I can't miss it. Anytime he's fighting, I'll be watching. The next MMA fight then on the night was Ritu Phogat against Tiffany Teu. And this, I went back and I listened to a little bit of my my preview after this, and it went as exactly almost as I predicted, but less maybe on the feet than I predicted. Teo was winning on the feet as I thought she would. I think she's just a better fighter there. Phogat did go for a couple of takedowns, but Teo was happy enough to fight on the ground as well. She wasn't afraid of that by any means, and she dominated both on the feet and on the ground. Landed some lovely grounded knees. She took the back. She took her time, and I think that taking of the time was a real key here, because I mentioned it with Reug as well. Sometimes you make the wrong decision, or you take too much time, or you don't take enough time. To know the right amount of time to take, I think was very, very good. And she kind of she took that position, cleared that position, and was able to get the rear naked choke late. A big thing as well here, I think she had the size over Ritu Phogat. And I think that was a big, big deal here, because not only could she win on the ground, on the feet, but she could also win on the ground and kind of dominate and be bigger on top. she's calling out the champ again for a fight. I know, she's lost to Jingnang Yang twice now, I believe, and and when I say she's calling out the champ, she's calling out Angela Lee, and if Angela Lee wins on Friday, it's a fight that could definitely happen. I think One Championship will probably like to put that together again. They're both fighting around the same time. It makes a lot of sense. Just checking the records now, they haven't fought before. So she's on a 2-fight win streak now, 2 finishes in a row. If Angela Lee beats the champ, finishes this trilogy, that definitely could be an option. I think. And One Championship have so many cards now as well. Have 2 monthly cards even, is it? I think, and maybe that'll be changing in the new year. But they have a lot of cards these days. They can afford to put on these fights, and they'll want people like Angela Lee out regularly on their cards. And I think if they put her in there against someone like Tiffany too, like if you think about the matchup too, Tio is as I mentioned, big and tall. I think she's probably a little bit of a better striker than Angela Lee. Technically, I think Angela is very good, putting on a pace and pushing you back, which, is sometimes worth more than the technique, for being honest. And Angela's obviously very good on the ground as well. But as Tia showed in this, she can fight on the ground as well. 2 submissions in a row. So, very interesting fight there. And definitely one that I could see happening down the line. The last MMA fight on the card then was Saygid Izagakhmaev against Lipeng Zhang. Now, I built this fight up as the most high-level fight on the card, and it probably was, but it didn't turn out to be a great fight. It turned out to be a one-sided domination more than anything else. I think it started kind of well. Saygid got his jab going. He went for a takedown at one stage. Lipeng stopped it very well, but eventually he did get the takedown. He got on top and spent the whole rest of the round on top. Now, you could look at that and say he spent, maybe 3.5 minutes of that round on top, probably around 4 minutes of the next round, and 4.5 minutes of the third round on top. I'm thinking, I think Herb Dean was the referee. Like, why is Herb Dean just watching this guy lying another guy for 14 minutes? Like, is that really what we want out of MMA? And I know he was doing a bit, and they're saying in commentary he was doing enough to stay on top, and maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But God Almighty, and people are calling me anti-wrestling these days, and I'm not really anti-wrestling. I'm pro-action. If there isn't enough action on the feet, I think there should be warnings given too. I'm not saying just stand them up immediately. Give them warnings on the ground. If they don't do anything, then stand them up. We can't have this. Like, imagine if there was 14 minutes on the feet of no one throwing any strikes or anything. People wouldn't stand for it. People would be going absolutely crazy. So, do you know what? It was one of those fights that kind of just makes you rethink MMA and the way MMA is reffed. I'm not blaming the referee. I'm blaming the way the sport is refereed at the moment. I would love for that to change a little, but all in all, back to the fight itself, Saygid just had too much in the wrestling department. You could see at the start of the second, especially at the start of the third as well. Well, actually, do you know what? More so at the start of the second. At least in the start of the third, Lipeng came out and tried to land a few big shots and maybe get a knockdown. You could just see like the fear to throw anything because he knew he was getting taken down. And I call it kind of the Anthony Pettis effect, where you just give up on circling, you give up on jabbing, you give up on everything, and you're kind of just looking for one big shot that you're not going to even throw because you're too afraid of getting taken down, and you just end up walking straight backwards and taken down. And by trying to make it hard for your opponent, you just make it really, really easy for him. And that's exactly what happened here. And it was good stuff from Saygid, good takedowns, good top control, and a good win against another guy who can wrestle, who has knockout power, who can throw that front kick through the middle, who was looking for the uppercut as well. It was a dangerous matchup. It looked like it was an easy walkover in the end, and I think the betting price was pretty big too, but I don't think it was that wide in terms of having watched both of them before, but Saygid definitely made it look that way. He called out Shinya Aoki afterwards, which... I think he actually called him out for a grappling match, which I suppose could happen. But overall, it was not the greatest fight in the world, but a good win there for Saygid. We'll see who he gets next. Roberto Soldic is around there now. Eddie Alvarez is gone, but you never know. So there's probably a few fights around there for him, but we'll see what happens. Then the rest of it was stand-up fights. One not great one and two very good ones, I would say. The heavyweight kickboxing match, the first one wasn't fantastic. Azapur against Chavez. Azizpur came out and he started well, threw a few shots, but then it kind of turned into just a lot of whiffing on shots, a lot of missing, but he was kind of clearly winning throughout and won the whole thing. And that was one of the semi-finals, I believe, of the tournament. The other semi-final was the Ukrainian Roman Krikla against Guto Innocente, and this one was a lot more fun. In 52 seconds, Roman threw a big right hand, got a knockdown. Innocente got up at around 7 to his haunches and then kind of jumped up, and the referee was like, walk forward. He did walk forward, but at that point where he was like kind of counting 6, 7, 8, he was still in his haunches. That was probably the time to stop it if you were stopping it. He took a head kick after that, went backwards. The referee let him fight on us. He took a head kick, went backwards, and then the referee stopped it then. And Innocente was still fighting at that stage. So the time he did stop it looked bad, but I don't disagree with the stoppage because he was hurt before that. If you watch it all in its totality, I don't think you can give out about it too much. If you just watch the end, you can probably say it was a bad stoppage, but that doesn't mean it's a bad stoppage. You have to look at in its totality. I think the only thing coming, I was talking to a couple of lads, the only thing coming there for Innocente was probably more pain. And now that's not a good enough reason to stop it, to be honest. We've seen fights and we've seen people come back before, but it was one of those ones where it was a late stoppage and an early stoppage at the same time, because it could have been stopped 15, 20 seconds earlier, but at the time it was stopped, it looked a bit weird. But all in all, a great win for Roman there. He goes on. I think they said the last person he lost that was Azizpur in the all kickboxing, so that'll be a fun rematch as well. And in the main event, what a fight this was. Pitchmurkat against Saenchai. Do you know what? As I said before, I'm not the biggest Muay Thai or kickboxing fan in the world, but by God, was I a Muay Thai fan in the middle of this fight. Jeez, absolute banger of a fight altogether. They just went hell for leather. I couldn't give you a breakdown of it, honestly. You know, you'd want a high level kickboxer or Muay Thai practitioner to give you the breakdown of this, because it looked to me like so intricate and so good. But what a fight it was. Saenchai ended up winning it, I think 3-2. And you know what, I think that was fair. I think he won the first 2. I think the third was close, but I think he won it 2, and then Petch came back and he won the last 2. But it was kind of, the old dog kind of waiting and biding his time, and the young man came out quickly. And the mouse won this time. The cat wasn't able to catch him, and the mouse got away too quickly. And that's exactly the way it went. It was just an absolutely phenomenal bout altogether, and I really, really enjoyed it, to be honest. So, there was a Muay Thai fight I really enjoyed, a few MMA fights I really enjoyed. The submission grappling was over in 15 seconds, so what's not to enjoy with that? So all in all, I think all the all the arts worked well today. I said the last time as well about the do you know what, I kind of like this, the way they did this. They made it more of a kickboxing card with a couple of MMA things thrown in. I feel like one of their recent cards, they had too much of everything. I kind of rather like this. If you want, let's say there's 10 fights on a card, give me 7 MMA and 3 of the rest. That'd be, I'd be happy with that. Or give me, maybe, if you want to make it a kickboxing card, give me 5, 6 kickboxing, give me 4 MMA or something like that. I think there's no problem. If you want to make a kickboxing card, make it a kickboxing card with some MMA. If you want to make an MMA card, make an MMA card with some kickboxing. I think they've found the right kind of look here with this one, and I hope this is the sort of way they continue, but obviously mostly with MMA at the very, very top. So yeah, all in all, I was happy with the card. I think it was good, and it's 5:20 here in Ireland, and I'm finished for the night. So that's even better. I will leave it there. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, why not click subscribe? give it thumbs up, and let us know in the comment section below, because all of that helps. So please do that, and let a friend know as well if you enjoyed this. I'll leave it there, lads. Thanks everybody for listening. My name is Sean Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.